Hey guys, it's Joe at Pocketnow.com, and I thought you'd like to see what you can do with a fully rooted T-Mobile G2 and how fast you can make this thing go. Let's take a look. Okay, so here's my T-Mobile G2. I have applied the perma-root solution to it, and I have also downloaded and installed Set CPU for root users, which is going to cost you about $5 US, but it lets you do some cool things like set up profiles. So when my battery is under 35%, I'm going to scale back my processor to a maximum of 768 megahertz and a minimum of 245, and that scaling is going to be on demand. Whenever an app needs it, it's going to scale up and go back down. When my battery's a little bit lower, I'm going to scale all the way up to a maximum of 368 and down to 245, and when my screen is off, I'm going to run it at the absolute slowest so that I can recover some of my battery life. Now, I said recover my battery life, and why is that? Well, first and foremost, take a look at this. I've got it scaled minimum 245, but maximum at basically 1.5 gigahertz, and I have this set to performance mode, running at boot. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what this thing can do. Now overclocked, running CyanogenMod Bacon Bits version 0.3, scaled all the way up with the performance governor, and see where the score is in Quadrant. Alright, so here is Quadrant Standard. Let's go ahead and run the full benchmark. Running it through. Now the T-Mobile G2 comes with what a lot of people have complained to be a very, very slow 800 megahertz processor. Fortunately for us, it's the Scorpion processor, which is the next generation, or the current one, if you want to look at it that way. It is very fast in and of itself, and it's very, very light, if you will, on using the battery. In fact, they decrease the size of the battery, unfortunately, which gives you even more runtime. But running through Quadrant, you can see here it's running at about 20 frames per second on that test. This one usually scores a bit better, so it's up into the high 50s, low 60s. This one usually scores a little slower. It's running about 23 frames per second. And just like that, the test is all over. And looking at this, see if you can zoom in and see that. The Quadrant benchmark score here is 2,202 points. Now, I have regularly been getting over 2,200 points on this device when it's all the way up, and it's just fabulous. And I haven't noticed battery life suffering at all, not one bit. But that is with the performance governor. I want to run this one more time on what I do every day, and that's on demand, which basically means you can see here how the speed is jumping up and down. It doesn't need much right now, so it's 245, and as it has processes it needs to run faster, it will speed up. So let's give it something that it really needs the whole processor on, shall we? Let's go back in and let's run Quadrant Standard. And we'll go back here, run the full benchmark again. This should perform a little bit slower because that on-demand requires a response time. When you're running full performance, it's running out full bore most of the time. When you are running on demand, it's basically sitting back and saying, oh, okay, you need more power, let me give you more power. Well, in the small amount of time that it took for this app, which is, again, Set CPU for root users, in the time that it took for that app to notice that it needed more speed and then scale your processor up, of course, that's going to impact the speed that you were running at for those few milliseconds while it was asking for the faster speeds. Excuse me. So we can see here it's running still pretty good. The frame rates are about the same, and it's really when we get into the nuts and bolts here that you'll see a difference. And as you can see right there, huge difference, huh? 2210. It performed even faster when it was in on-demand mode versus in performance mode. I don't know why that is, but it's been consistent. So that might be a little issue with the governor that we're using, or it might just be this device likes being able to ask for things on demand and scale up quite a bit faster. But play around with it. See which one of those governors really works best for you. But you know what? For a device that scored 1,600 points when we first got it, now all the way up to 2,200, that's phenomenal. Okay, now I got one last little bit of goodness here. You ready for this? This isn't even the fastest kernel out there. They've got another kernel, like we told you about earlier, that isn't, well, it isn't what you'd call stable, but it's more than twice the clock speed that the phone came with. You can go all the way over 1900 megahertz, and I can just imagine the scores that you can get from that. Hopefully we can get it to run stably at that speed, but in the meantime, 1.5, that's phenomenal, and the phone doesn't get warm, it doesn't run hot. The battery life, I haven't noticed any problems at all. If you do, definitely let me know in the comments. If you've got a different score that you want to report, leave that in the comments. If you haven't checked out our video channel to see the other tests that we're running with, well, unlocked phones and off-the-shelf phones, make sure you subscribe to our video channel. And, you know, if you want to see more of these videos, I like positive encouragement. The best way to do that is with a big thumbs up to the video. You can click that down at the bottom right now. So, showing you how fast an overclocked T-Mobile G2 can run, I'm Joe for Pocketnow.com.